Okay, I see that we're still missing our board attorney, and I just got note that I have an updated script, so I'm just going to take a second to see what the update is. And Latonia's not on here, so I can't ask her. Okay.
Ma'am, Madam Chair, Latonia is in the boardroom with me. She can hear you.
Yeah, she's out there, Mary.
Okay, yeah. Is it a big update, Latonia?
It's one that we added, the last one, right?
Academic services.
Right.
Rachel Cohen and the graduation.
Rachel Cohen and the high school graduation.
Okay, I'm going to try to find that real quick. Just please bear with me for 2 minutes and I will. Tanya, I don't see it.
Ms. Fisher, it's Jennifer.
Hi.
We had the last two good cause items added at the last minute. There are under academic services, and it's for the graduations that Ms. Stillwell spoke about yesterday in the email.
Is it
and
in
the last one is an email or a contract for Rachel Cohen Audiology. They would be items, let me see, E19 and E20.
E19 and 20. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's in the consent. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thanks. I'll find it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Thomas is working on getting logged in. There's a computer issue here.
Okay. All righty.
Mary, excuse me,
Yes.
are you able to get on board docs to join the meeting?
That I couldn't join the meeting either. That's what I was going to say. Thank you.
We can't
Yeah,
join.
because Ms. Thomas is having an issue with the computer. She hasn't launched board docs yet. We'll let you know as soon as it's ready.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm on, but I don't know why.
Well, you're on. Are you able to, you can't join the meeting though.
No, I can't
Right.
join the meeting.
So we're waiting for to be able to join
Yes.
the meeting.
Right, okay. So let's see, it's 3:04. Jennifer, what do you think by 3:10?
You should be able to log in just here in a minute.
Okay,
You will need to refresh your screens.
yes, okay.
It's up now. You can join.
Okay. Are we all on? Good afternoon, everybody. We're ready to begin this afternoon's board meeting. The school board meeting of June 23rd, 2020 is now called to order. The time is 3:05 p.m. Following the recommendation of Governor DeSantis and the Florida Department of Education, this meeting will be held virtually, streamed live, and will be posted to the district YouTube channel upon completion of the meeting. We would like to take this opportunity to remind the members of the public of the district's mission, which is to ensure that each student achieves his or her highest personal potential, and the district's vision to be a world-class school system. This afternoon's agenda includes the invocation, the Pledge of Allegiance, public comment, consent action items, which include 4 items under executive services, 2 of which are for good cause. Dr. Adkins, please provide an explanation for these 2 items.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The 2 items under executive services. First is the approval agreement with Sky Family YMCA. Remember, we had entered discussions in with YMCA, but because of the COVID response, we had not gone with the full agreement. However, we have been contacted and in discussions with them most recently, and there is a need for us to open one of these for July. So that's this item. The next one is approval of the agreement with the Lee County Sheriff's Department. And this really is to bring in information from the Sheriff's Department to help educate our students around safeguards and practices to combat COVID-19. So those are the 2 good calls for executive services.
Dr. Atkins, as presiding officer, I find that there is good cause to add these 2 items to the agenda. Also, we have 20 items under academic services, 1 of which is good cause. No, 3 of which are good cause. Please provide an explanation for these 3 items.
The first one under good cause is the approval to revise the high school graduation schedule for the 2020 school year. That's again with a lease agreement. Remember, we had a change of venue, so we want to bring that back to the board for approval. And the next item is approval of the service agreement with Dr. Rachel Cohen Audiology. This is an important agreement that we get in place to make sure that we have services continue to be provided for our students. And I believe that's all good calls under academic services.
Okay, thank you very much. Also on the agenda are 15 items under business services, 7 items under human resources, 1 of which is for good cause. Please provide an explanation for this item.
As is common every summer, we do have a number of administrative changes due to retirements or transfers. And so in order to get our principals in place as soon as we possibly can, we bring those principal appointments to the first available board agenda. And therefore, I'm bringing these 2 appointments.
As presiding officer, I find there's good cause to add this to the agenda also. Also, we have 2 items under information services, 10 items under operations, 1 item under attorney recommendations, which is good cause. Mrs. Dupree Bruno, please provide an explanation for this 1 item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is with regards to the approval of the addendum with RSM US Limited Liability Partnership to extend the term of the Master Services Agreement to serve as the school board's internal audit function to comply with Florida Statute Section 1001.42.
Thank you, Ms. Attorney Bruno. As presiding officer, I find there's good cause to add this one item to the agenda. Also, we have 5 items for public hearing and 4 items under other business. Board members, is there a motion to adopt the agenda? So moved by Mrs. Morgan and seconded by Ms. Jordan. Please record your vote. Tanya, can you let me know what the vote is?
It's unanimous.
Thank you. Today, Mrs. Debbie Jordan will deliver the invocation, after which Mrs. Kathleen O'Daniel Morgan will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Jordan, please deliver the invocation at this time.
Thank you. Please bow your head. Dear Lord, I pray that you guide us always. Satisfy the needs to be met during this meeting. Strengthen us as we make tough decisions. I pray that we will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose water never fails. I pray that we will be fruitful. Father, please guide us so that this meeting can be productive. Let us be effective and decisive. Amen.
Ms. Morgan.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. The next item on the agenda is public comment. Attorney Dupree Bruno, please address the item of public comment.
School board policy provides the opportunity at this point in the meeting to address the board concerning any matter on this meeting's agenda or any other matter relevant to the operation of the school district. If you have completed a card and submitted before the meeting began, you will be called in the order of the card submitted. If you did not submit a card but still wish to address the board this evening, Mrs. Fisher, the board chair, will give you an opportunity in a moment to express that desire. The rules concerning comment are posted at the back of the room. The board does not respond during public comment time to remarks made by speakers. At the end of the public comment period, the board chair will address the assignment of any concerns or requests made during public comment to the superintendent. Speakers and those attending the meeting are expected to act in a respectful manner. Attacks on individuals or abusive comments are prohibited. In addition to clapping, booing, hissing are prohibited. Speakers who fail to follow rules regarding the public comment should be ruled out of order. Any speaker continuing with such remarks will be required to relinquish the lectern per board policy 1.11. Time per speaker is 3 minutes. Madam Chair, I have 5 individuals in the boardroom, and we do have emails as well.
Thank you, Attorney Bruno. Will you call the first blue card?
Thank you, ma'am. Please go ahead and state your name for the record.
Sorry, I had to be unmuted. My name is Haley Gutierrez, and I'm talking in regards to Vivian Gutierrez. So the district has claimed that Vivian failed to report. Yet on that day in December, she was the only person who did call the SRO. All other employees that day either didn't report at all or reported to somebody else. Yet Vivian Gutierrez was the only one who was disciplined. And speaking about failure to report, because that is apparently what the issue is, a huge example of that happened in December of 2018. In December of 2018, a pre-K student was assaulted on one of the Lee County school buses, and the driver said that she saw a 5th grade boy assault her. The bus driver did not report this to DCF. She told her immediate supervisor, who also did not report to DCF. The transportation director at the time also did not report to DCF. Andy Brown was told, and he did not report to DCF. The superintendent at that time was told and did not report to DCF, as well as a teacher and an assistant principal at the school the little girl attended. It wasn't until the 8th person, the principal of that school, was told that it got reported to DCF, and that was 4 days later. During that time, that little girl was having to get back on that bus where she was assaulted with the other student that assaulted her. And all those people that I mentioned, they're mandatory reporters. There's a Florida statute that requires them to report to DCF. In fact, if you've seen the news, a police officer was just arrested for failure to report a parent not using a car seat because he was a mandatory reporter. Now, Vivian Gutierrez was demoted for conduct unbecoming because it took her 11 minutes to call the SRO. But during that time, she wasn't just sitting at her desk, she was taking action. She was going to find out who the student was and what exactly was going on in the situation. During that time, she removed the student from the classroom and was able to remove the gun from his possession. However, 7 members of the district for 4 days didn't report to DCF that a child may have been assaulted. During that time, that girl's safety was compromised of having to be back on that bus. Now that is a failure to report. That is conduct unbecoming. And additionally, it's the same thing that is happening to Vivian Gutierrez. 1 person out of those 7 people was singled out and removed from her position. And as far as I'm aware, no one else was disciplined, at least not to the same extent. And I do have documentation that I received the other day that proves that people knew and failed to report. This may not seem like it's related, but it goes to the core of the issue that there is a lack of communication on what employees are expected when it comes to reporting. There is discrepancies when it comes to disciplining employees.
Time, please.
Thank you.
The next speaker, please step forward, put your blue card in the basket. And Madam Chair, we now have 6 speakers.
Thank you, Ms. Bruno.
Hi, Hannah Mings here. As a parent in Lee County Schools, I would like to discuss the safety policies and recent decision to demote Vivian Gutierrez. How can you ensure that any other staff will now respond to violent threats, seeing the example you, the district, has set when handling the case with Vivian? I would think most would probably not respond in fear of losing their jobs. Simply setting new policies will not fix the public perception of this. We, the parents, deserve better. We deserve to see our district stand up for the teachers who make sure our children have a safe environment. I hope you reinstate Vivian, so as we as a community can move forward in a positive way and learn from this and grow. You have a chance to set a great example on showing support for your staff and leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker, please step forward, put the blue card in the basket and state your name.
Good afternoon. My name is Adam Sanchez. I'm here as a parent and a district employee. First of all, I just can't get my mind wrapped around the fact that a person, a teacher, knew or was told about a weapon on campus and basically nothing's happened to him. That I just can't figure that out. And that Vivian acted and possibly saved some lives, and here we are weeks after weeks of doing this, trying to clear her name. I would like to figure out why this person failed to notify somebody of a potential life-threatening situation to others, and nothing's been done. He's been moved to another school. That to me is ridiculous as a parent. Now, as an employee who works around students, staff, and everything, my question is, if I am told, sir, there's a weapon, or he has a weapon, or I see a weapon, what are my steps? What do I need to do? Because after all this, I'm afraid that if I go to somebody and they fail to report, or if I go to the wrong person, then maybe we're having these meetings about me. I believe that Vivian's being treated as a scapegoat. I'm sorry. I don't believe that the investigation was thorough. There is many questions that are left. I've talked to many of my coworkers, and they're under the assumption that, you know what, sometimes it's better not to do anything because, look, he didn't get in trouble. She did something, and now look where we're at. I'm going to leave you with this. As a district, I would like for us to think that we are a district that mended a mistake and got better training throughout, than to be added on a list of growing school districts throughout this country that have had tragedies. I believe that that day, Vivian prevented it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next person, please step forward. Put your blue card in the basket and state your name.
My name is Patricia Cruz. I want the board to know that I personally thank Vivian Gutierrez for her bravery on December the 20th. It allowed my child to come home. There's many, many people, parents, that should be thanking her because each person there is a child of someone. And that parent should thank her for doing what she did to let those children go home. No matter how old you are a child of someone. And I imagine that a lot of these schools that have had shootings wish that there would have been a Vivian Gutierrez there, so their dead child could come home, which they will never come home. So we need to think about, as a parent, do we approve of what she did? Because she saved many to that day. And as a parent, you need to think about that. It could have been your child that didn't come home.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker, please. Put your blue card in the basket and step forward and state your name.
Hi, my name is Laura Bollinger.
You can go ahead and speak, ma'am. Thank you.
I've come in front of the school board to speak on behalf of Vivian Gutierrez as a friend of hers. I'm also a teacher in this district and a teacher at Harns Marsh Middle School. Today I come to speak to her as a fellow employee. Was Vivian a hero that day? I don't know. I don't know what defines a hero, but I do know that the people that were in that building, students and staff alike, we got to go home with no injuries to anyone. The only one that's been injured through this is Vivian Gutierrez. She's been demoted to a teacher. She has no idea where you're going to place her. I've been told by many different people that standing up for Vivian is going to cost me my career, that I am going to be blacklisted, that I am going to be looked at bad for any promotions I might want. There are a lot of people in our building that would be in each of these meetings except for that fear. They don't have 25 years in. They don't have 25 years as a teacher and 20 years in this district. They're scared. That's why you don't see more people from our building standing up. I can tell you that right now. They've told me to my face they are scared to say anything because of the backlash from the board. That's a shame. You guys made a mistake in demoting Vivian Gutierrez. She got the gun. She did what she was supposed to do. She did it in a timely manner. I was there. She saved lives. She saved that kid from shooting anybody. She saved that kid from a life of prison for the rest of his life. Demoting her is a slap in the face to the district. And I'm telling you right now, as a teacher in that building, I am scared to death to go back into the building because I don't know what to do. We have all these active shooter drills. We watch the video that we have to do every year, and it talks about what to do when somebody comes onto your campus with a gun. And those things change year to year. They change SRO to SRO. When you have a new SRO in your building, those things change. Put the green card up, don't put the green card up. Lock your door, block your door, don't block your door. Put your chair in your door handle, don't put your chair in your door handle. It changes from month to month, day to day, and I don't understand how her getting that weapon from that student is conduct unbecoming a school district employee. It makes no sense at all whatsoever. You might not like what she did. There's no written policy that I can find or that anybody can show me where she violated any policy that was written. I'm asking you, if there's policy, please, for God's sakes, teach it to us. Teach it to us that are in the school, in the classroom with the kid, because I'm telling you right now, if I knew a kid had a weapon in their backpack or suspected weapon in their backpack,
Time, please.
I would have no idea what to do.
Thank you, ma'am, for your comment. Next speaker.
My name is Presley Marie, and I'm here to discuss the demotion of Vivian Gutierrez. During the last board meeting,
Young lady, can you speak up just a little louder so we can hear you, please?
Okay, sorry. My name is Presley Marie, and I'm here to discuss the demotion of Vivian Gutierrez. During the last board meeting, the superintendent stated that the most relevant policy regarding Vivian Gutierrez is policy 4.08. That was the first time anyone had heard of this policy in regards to the situation. The district failed to include it in the official investigation packet, failed to mention it at Vivian Gutierrez's hearing, and failed to include it in their statement to the news. That is why none of the speakers addressed that policy during the board meeting. The failure to include this policy shows that Andy Brown, the director of professional standards for the district, and the person who ran the investigation, doesn't know the district policies as well, seeing as it took almost 6 months for it to be mentioned. If the person in charge of enforcing the district policies does not know them, how clearly have it been communicated to other employees? Not very clearly, since multiple teachers have told the board that they have not been told and do not know how to respond to a weapon on campus at the last two board meetings. Additionally, the newly mentioned policy per the superintendent requires any crimes that occur on the school grounds to be reported to law enforcement. That's exactly what happened. The moment that Vivian discovered the student had a gun, she contacted the SRO principal and communications department. Who did violate this policy in policy 2.11 were the other employees who received the same information as Vivian did much earlier that day. The teacher who was told that the student pointed the gun at several students when the teacher left the class unsupervised failed to report to anyone. The paraprofessional who was told the same thing called her boyfriend instead of the administrators, failing to report anything. Both of those employees have received no discipline for this failure to act. It was Vivian who called the SRO and the principal. It was others who failed to report. It is time for the superintendent to stop stalling and do the right thing by overturning Annie Brown's decision to demote Vivian Gutierrez. I am asking each of you to see that this is wrong and set right to do so immediately. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Chair, I do have some emails. Let me go ahead and read.
Yes, thank you, Attorney Bruno. Proceed with the emails.
Pursuant to Executive Order 20-69 and the Department of Education directives dated March 17, 2020, notice was provided to the public that all public comment will be accepted virtually by email. Virtual submission of public comment was required to be sent to the email address publiccomment@leeschools.net at least 2 hours prior to this afternoon's meeting and are limited to 3,000 characters or 450 words to be consistent with Board Policy 1.11, subsection 5A, which allots for 3-minute maximum. Madam Chair, I have 10 emailed comments. The first is from Belingela Martinez. I work at HHMS, and I ask that you reconsider reinstating Mrs. Gutierrez. On the day of the incident with Mr. Hernandez, there was 2 gun threats. It was the last day before Christmas vacation. A totally new lunch schedule. It was half a day, and as always, we had lots of absences from staff. Mrs. Gutierrez could have disregarded the threat since the first one was already cleared, and it was the same exact threat, that a student had a BB gun or a gun. All threats are treated the same at our school. She acted with diligence, and the outcome speaks for itself. Thanks to her, I can still come home to my children. Please do the right thing and reinstate Mrs. Gutierrez to AP at Harns Marsh Middle School. Thank you. Tanya Fagan. I'm writing you today out of concern for my daughters who are students in the Lee County school system. I fear for their safety and want to understand why measures to close the obvious safety gap exposed by the incident at Harns Marsh Middle School in December, when Vivian Gutierrez successfully stopped a school shooting and was ultimately demoted for her heroic act. It has been over 5 months since she was suspended, investigated, and told that she would be demoted, and this board has been aware of the situation for nearly 2 months. Yet no action has been taken to reverse this decision or to provide school district staff with training for this type of situation. Today, this board will have an ethics and education policy before you. This is a step in the right direction in giving all Lee County School District employees protections that are clearly lacking. I urge you to pass this policy and to reinstate Vivian Gutierrez to her administrative position at Harns Marsh Middle School. Enough is enough. Kathleen and David Forsaki. Why would you and your school board try to hurt a local business who always does the right thing? Alfie Oaks had an event with over 1,000 people. He has never said anything racist or bad about people of color. He had an event to support our president. All lives. He did not ask for donations, but paid for the event out of his own pocket. He is a great man and an asset to our community. You and the board should be ashamed for attempting to hurt this man and his business. We are requesting your decision to cancel Oaks Farms' contract be reversed. Jamie Zrebiak. I'm writing in support of my former colleague, Vivian Gutierrez, in hopes that she will reinstate her to an active AP position. I believe that she is being wrongfully punished and has saved many lives during the situation that happened at Harns Marsh last December. Both Vivian and I received the same training from the district each year, where we briefly learn how to act when an active shooter is coming on campus. Yet we do not receive any training on how to act when someone is already on campus and found with an obvious threat. I believe that Vivian acted in the best manner she could with logic and minimal training that she had that day. The district should be looking at this case with urgent insight that we need to improve our trainings with our entire district staff to provide more effective trainings, including current threats already on campus for all of our sakes. The fact is that Vivian used what she helped to save lives that day, and she should be celebrated as hero instead of being demoted. Agnes Hicks. I'm writing you today out of an abundance of caution regarding the incident nearly 6 months ago at Harns Marsh Middle School when Mrs. Vivian Gutierrez stopped a school shooting. Please help me understand why she is suspended to begin with. As you well know, there is no policy, procedure, law, or training that would have influenced how Mrs. Gutierrez handled the situation. I cannot understand why the superintendent has refused to rescind the demotion of this 30-year school district employee. Don't you think that Mr. Andrew Brown has put this hero through enough already? Clearly, it is time for the school board to compel the superintendent to return Vivian Gutierrez to her rightful position at Harns Marsh Middle School as the assistant principal for curriculum. Jason Bachman. I was horrified to view the videos recently posted on social media in which at least one Lee County School District student is recorded making extremely racist and hateful comments against Black people and Jewish people. The teenagers who recorded the video used the N-word to describe Black people multiple times, saying F-N-word plural. We don't like N-word plural around here. If you ain't white, you ain't right. What is your plan as a school board to deconstruct the level of racism and hatred revealed in the videos recorded by these students? How can Black students, Jewish students, or any student of color in the school district expect to be safe around the students who recorded these racist videos? What reassurance can you provide to parents in the community that the racist statements about these students will not be tolerated and that all students attending schools within the district understand the value, worth, and dignity of individuals from diverse populations in our society? These videos have brought much distress, anguish, and embarrassment to our school district. Curriculum and classroom discussions around the topic of race must clearly be reevaluated and immediately enhanced to confront the challenge of stamping out the racist attitudes and beliefs revealed by the students in these videos. Jeff McCullers. The board has asked for the first time to set aside its own charter language and instead use the state model contract. This is historic and surprising since SBR Rule 6A-6.0786 only requires that the contract negotiations begin with the model form, not end with it. It is important that the board approve these renewal contracts before they expire on June 30th. However, some follow-up work is also in order to fully protect the board in the district. This means that each department should follow up to review its practice to account for the different language, and that the board attorney and the charter school liaison review board policy 2.28 to account for these schools being held to a different standard. Some examples of how each of these contracts differ from current practice include: A, failing to provide that the school shall maintain student records in the completed and exact form specified by current district protocols, which was required in the most recent charter at Section 2D and Section 3G, and which is required in School Board Policy 2.28 at Section 6Q. B, failing to specify that the school will not request a copy of the student's IEP nor any student information from the parent or anyone else prior to the completion of the application process, that the school may not access such information on the sponsored student systems prior to admission, and that the school's enrollment application will not include questions concerning an IEP or need for special services, all of which are specified in the school's most recent charter at Section 3HI, and which is also required in the 2007 resolution and agreement with the U.S. Department of Education Office for Civil Rights regarding the complaint 0.407-1040. C, failing to provide that the school's website include important school choice information, including accreditation, governing board contact information, management companies, and minutes of the governing board meetings, which were pulled in the most recent charter at Section 2H. Failing to require submittal of an unaudited financial statement by August 1st and an audited financial statement as required in the most recent charter at Section 4F3D, and also in School Board Policy 2.8, Section 6R10. Instead of the proposed charter allows the school to delay submittal until September 30th, which may harm the district's own AFR. Failure to require the school's governing board meets locally at least 4 times each year, as required in the most recent charter at Section 8F. Instead, the proposed charter calls for only 2 such meetings a year. F, failing to require that the sponsor be notified of any changes that the governing board members, which was required in the school's most recent charter at Section 8H. G, failure to incorporate by reference all requirements in School Board Policy 2.28 and any further revisions which may be required in the school's most recent charter at Section 12X. Collier, Falmar. I'm writing concerning the district's actions regarding Vivian Gutierrez. Since this became a public issue, the district has released several false and misleading statements that are directly contradicted by its own official investigation. Just one more example of this was happened in the last board meeting. During that meeting, Superintendent Greg Atkins stated that the most relevant policy is 4.08. That was the first time anyone had heard of this policy in regards to this situation. The district failed to include it in the official investigation packet, failed to mention it at Vivian Gutierrez's hearing, failed to include it in any of their statements to the news. But yet, the superintendent had it on his desk ready to go to make it look as if the people speaking on behalf of Vivian were leaving that policy out. None of those speaking as to why the policies don't apply spoke on policy 4.08 because it hadn't been mentioned not one time over the past 6 months since the incident. But since the policy has been brought up, I read it and found that Vivian did not violate it. That policy says that crimes that occur on school grounds are to be reported immediately to law enforcement. However, it fails to say immediately upon what? Immediately upon suspicion or immediately upon confirmation? Sounds like creating this policy is something else the district has done poorly. Regardless, the moment that Vivian discovered the students had a gun, she contacted the SRO, principal, and the communications department. The same cannot be said about other employees that day. I ask that the district stop playing politics and reinstate Vivian Gutierrez to her position at Harns Marsh Middle School. Stephen Rossi. Dear board members, I represent Oaks Farm Food and Distribution Services. Consistent with my letter dated June 17, 2020 to District Procurement Director Frederick B. Ross, which was copied to each of you, the district has wrongfully terminated its contract with Oaks Farm for the supply of fresh produce. You, as the elected board members, accountable to the taxpayers and citizens of Lee County, have the opportunity today to right this wrong by voting to reaffirm the contract with Oaks Farm, which was ostensibly terminated based solely upon the district's unconstitutional viewpoint discrimination against Oaks Farms and its owner, Alfie Oaks. Your failure or refusal to reaffirm the contract will likely cost Lee County taxpayers tens of millions of dollars in damages to Oaks Farm, a decision which you will ultimately have to be accountable to your constituents. It is unfortunate that the Lee County School District has illegally and unconstitutionally taken sides in a matter of public debate, thereby turning what is constitutional supposed to be the entity that operates the free public schools into an activist organization. Each of you swore an oath to uphold the United States and Florida constitutions. Oaks Farm asks that you do so today by reaffirming the contract with Oaks Farm. Nikki Clark. I'm happy that students are allowed to play sports and know it's safe. But with that said, I find it very odd that the board meeting is being held on Zoom today. I'm not sure why a board of elected officials conducted any meetings via Zoom or continues this method. County and city meetings have remained in person and took simple measures to comply COVID safety precautions, which you could have also easily done. During this period, when you should be plugged into the community, the Zoom meetings have made it difficult for the public to have input, and the change of the meeting time further silenced the public. Holding a 3 p.m. meeting is not good for most people. Accountability. As elected officials, if you choose not to engage with the public or hold meetings that the public can be a part of, you are neglecting your duties. What is the point of this board if one person makes all the decisions? It seems apparent that your influence has slipped away greatly and only continues to dissipate with each meeting. There are many aspects of how this country is run that are out of line with how other school boards in the state are run. It is evident that we have two members pushing their personal agendas. Mrs. Morgan and Mrs. Patrica should think about their role on this board and if they are willing to serve the public and not just a small group of community agitators which they enlist to speak and give false information. Racism. Thanks to Mrs. Giddens for your continued communication with the public. You are truly an excellent board member and understand the purpose and duty of your elected seat. I am sorry for the way some of your fellow board members have treated you. There is no excuse, and I would like you to know the community backs you and is very concerned with the treatment you have received. I would like to see certain board members offer public apologies to Mrs. Gittens today and also to the newly appointed attorney for the manner in which she was treated in the hiring discussion. As elected officials, the manner you speak to and about others is important and carries throughout the community. It is vital that your leadership dialogue show respect to everyone. Perhaps you can all learn a little from Mrs. Gittens if you stop speaking over her and silencing her voice. Graduation. Virtual graduation was bad. A computer read kids' voices. Awful. This board lacked the leadership to hold local high school ceremonies for free like many other counties. You disappointed every senior, and Atkins' poor leadership was seen by all. Oaks Farm. Why are so many big decisions made without your input or vote? Atkins gets input all right, but not from people we elected. This is a big problem. Time for new leadership here, so maybe the public can trust again. Amy Fritsch. I am shocked and appalled that after saving staff and students from a school shooting at Harns Marsh Middle School, Vivian Gutierrez was suspended, investigated, and will be demoted. It is incomprehensible that instead of being recognized as a hero, she has been punished. Where is the proof that she acted outside of district guidelines or processes and procedures? Vivian Gutierrez did not break any policies or procedures. Vivian reacted in a calm, collective manner. The school district is trying to blame a broken system on one individual. Vivian Gutierrez did the right thing. She took a gun away from a child with a motive and a plan to kill. She was presented with a serious problem and she handled it by your broken guidelines in a timely fashion. Where does it say that something needs to be done within so many minutes for a gun to be reported? Your decision sends a dangerous message to school district staff, students, and families that she is being reprimanded for saving lives. Is this truly in line with your goal, being a world-class school system? Respectfully, please reconsider your decision and return Vivian Gutierrez to her position at Harns Marsh Middle School immediately. That ends the public email comments, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. So for the dozen people who came to speak on behalf of Vivian, please rest assured that this district, this board, and this district staff continue to look at our training opportunities and always keep safety as our utmost priority. We appreciate the people who talk to us about Oaks Farms, and we continue to have conversations, and I'm going to ask Dr. Atkins if he would like to weigh in regarding the Oaks Farms contract.
Just to reiterate what I said last time addressing the contract termination, it was done related to the health, safety, and welfare of our students. Additionally, the change is going to be a cost savings for the school district. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Atkins. And Dr. McCullers, Attorney Bruno and this board will make sure that we follow up on your suggestions regarding our charters, and I thank you for that. And regarding the behavior of the board, we will listen carefully to all comments, and we continue to work to improve our status as a governance team, and every member of this board serves with their hearts in the right place and care deeply about the students and the community. Moving on in the agenda is the approval of consent action items. This documentation for action items listed under consent is made available to board members 7 business days prior to the board meeting. We are expected to review all the material, and we have an opportunity to speak with the superintendent with any questions we may have regarding the recommendations. Some of these items have also been briefed or workshopped with the board in advance of appearing on the agenda. Board members, are there any agenda items you wish to pull for discussion under the unfinished business tabled items portion of the agenda? Ms. Giovanelli?
I have none.
Ms. Patrica?
No, thank you.
Ms. Jordan?
No, thank you.
Ms. Gittens?
No, I do not. I do want to make the statement that I hope in future we don't have as many last minute changes to the agenda, since we do have to review them all. It's very difficult at the last minute to make sure we've covered everything.
Thank you very much. Ms. Vaughn?
I have none.
Mrs. Morgan?
I have none.
And I have none. Is there a motion to approve the agenda's consent action items? Moved by Ms. Morgan.
Second.
Just board members, please just state.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Morgan. You're muted.
The board attorney was muted also, and I didn't hear what she said.
Oh.
If you
She said make the motion, state what the motion is.
I move that the board approve the consent agenda.
Okay, and seconded by Mrs.
I second the
Yes,
Ms.
Mrs.
Morgan's
Giovanelli.
motion.
Board members, please record your vote. Latanya, are we, oh, I see it. Latanya, do we have the vote?
Yes, it's unanimous.
Thank you. Okay. Motion carries 7-0. Next is attorney's recommendation for a good cause. Attorney Bruno.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the recommendation to approve the addendum to the Master Services Agreement for RSM to be the internal auditor to be in compliance with Florida Statute 1001.
Board members, you've heard the attorney's recommendation that the board approve. Okay. I'm sorry, that's not what I have.
It's 1001.42, Madam Chair.
I know, but that's not what I have on this script. I'm sorry. All right, board members, you've heard the attorney's recommendation that we approve the addendum with RSM 1001.2.
The Florida statute is 1001.42, requiring us to have internal auditor.
Okay, in accordance with Florida statute 1001.42. Is there a motion to approve?
I believe that Ms. Morgan is prepared to make the motion, Madam Chair.
I move that we approve the addendum with RSM US LLP to extend the term of the Master Services Agreement.
And I second Ms. Morgan's
Ms.
motion.
Morgan, and okay, and I think Ms. Vaughn had seconded Mrs. Giovanelli. No? Okay, Ms. Giovanelli seconds. Thank you. Any discussion? No discussion. Seeing none, then please record your vote. Latanya, do we have a vote?
Madam Chair, waiting on Ms. Bond.
Okay.
Madam Chair, it's unanimous.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0. Next on the agenda is public hearings. Dr. Adkins, please present your recommendation for this afternoon's public hearing items.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have 5 items this afternoon. The first one is approval to revise the 2020-2021 student progression plan. The next item is approval of the charter contract renewal with the Island School, Inc. for the Island School. The third item is approval of the charter contract renewal with the City of Palms Charter High School, Inc. for the Northern Palms Charter High School. Fourth item is approval to renew the charter contract with the City of Cape Coral Charter School Authority, Inc. and the name change for Oasis Charter Elementary North, which was known as Krista McAuliffe Charter Elementary. And then the final is approval to renew the charter contract with the City of Cape Coral School Authority and the name change Oasis Charter Elementary South, which was Oasis Charter Elementary School. And those are the 5 items.
Thank you very much. We will now recess this regular school board meeting and open the public hearing. As indicated, the public hearing this afternoon is to consider approval to revise the 2020-2021 student progression plan, approval of the charter contract to renew the Island School, Inc. for the Island School, approval of the charter contract renewal with the City of Palms Charter High School, Inc. for Northern Palms Charter High School, approval to renew the charter contract with the City of Cape Coral Charter School Authority, and the name change for Oasis Charter Elementary North, formerly known as Krista McAuliffe Charter Elementary. Finally, the approval to renew the charter contract with the City of Cape Coral Charter School Authority, Inc., and the name change for Oasis Charter Elementary South, formerly known as Krista McAuliffe Charter Elementary. At this time, the public will be invited to speak on these 5 items. The time allowed for comment is 3 minutes. Attorney Dupree Bruno, do you have any comments that were submitted or persons in attendance in the boardroom who wish to speak?
At this time, Madam Chair, we don't have anybody in the boardroom to speak, but as we have done for the other virtual meetings, I would request a 5-minute recess to make sure there's no emails that come in with regards to the public hearing.
At this time, we will take a 5-minute recess to allow for email comments at 3:57 p.m. and we will return at 4:02 p.m. Thank you. Very much. I will now close this public hearing and reconvene the school board meeting of June 23rd, 2020. Dr. Atkins, please restate your recommendation for this afternoon's public hearing.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first item is approval to revise the 2020-2021 Student Progression Plan. The Student Progression Plan is reviewed and updated annually, if necessary, and presented to the board for adoption. The effective date of this adoption shall be June 24th, 2020.
Thank you, Dr. Atkins. Board members, is there a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation to revise the 2020-2021 Student Progression Plan?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the superintendent's recommendation.
Thank you. Moved by Mrs. Patrica and seconded by Ms. Moore. Any discussion? Okay, please record your vote. LaTanya?
It's unanimous.
Motion carries 7-0. Next recommendation, Dr. Atkins.
Next recommendation, approval of the charter contract renewal for the Island School, Inc. for the Island School, serving grades K-5 for a 15-year term from July 1st, 2020 through June 30, 2035.
Board members, is there a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation for the approval of the charter contract renewal with the Island School for the Island School serving grades K through 5 through 2035? Ms. Vaughn?
I move to approve the superintendent's recommendation.
Is there a second? Ms. Gittens? Any discussion, board members? Please record your vote.
Madam Chair, it's unanimous.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0. Third recommendation, Dr. Atkins.
Yes, Madam Chair, the recommended action is approval of the charter contract renewal for the City of Palms Charter High School, Inc. for Northern Palms Charter High School, an alternative education school serving grades 9 through 12 for a 15-year term from July 1st, 2020 through June 30, 2035.
Board members, is there a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation for the approval of the charter contract renewal with the City of Palms Charter High School Incorporated for the Northern Palms Charter High School, an alternative education school serving grades 9 through 12 for a 15-year term through July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2035?
I think everyone's afraid to have to repeat that.
No, that's why I repeated it. I repeated it so you wouldn't have to.
Easy ones.
Okay.
I move to approve the superintendent's recommendation.
Moved by Ms. Vaughn, seconded by Ms. Gittens. Please record your vote, board members.
Madam Chair, unanimous.
Motion carries 7-0. Dr. Atkins?
Yes, next, I'm recommending the approval to renew the charter contract for the City of Cape Coral Charter School Authority, Inc., and the name change for Oasis Charter Elementary North, formerly known as Krista McCullough Charter Elementary, serving grades K-5 for a 15-year term from July 1st, 2020 through June 30, 2035.
Is there a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation to renew the charter contract with the City of Cape Coral Charter School Authority, Inc., and the name change for Oasis Charter Elementary North, formerly known as Krista McAuliffe Charter Elementary, for a 15-year term from July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2035. And Ms. Gittens?
Yes, I move to approve the superintendent's recommendation.
Moved by Ms. Gittens and seconded by Ms. Jordan. Any discussion, board members? Ms. Patrica?
I just want to take the opportunity to talk about how grateful I am for the work that the municipal charter system does out in the Cape. I think, Madam Chair, you probably know better than anybody how happy the public is with those schools, and I think they do a fantastic job, and they're a shining example of a well-run charter that has the best interests of students in mind. Thank you. Those are my comments.
Thank you, and I think the charter board, along with the city council, really appreciate that comment. Any other discussion? Please record your vote. Dr. Adkins, LaTonya?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Okay, and motion carries 7-0. Final recommendation, Dr. Adkins.
Yes, Madam Chair, my final recommendation this afternoon is the approval to renew the charter contract with the City of Cape Coral Charter School Authority, Inc., and the name change for Oasis Charter Elementary South, formerly known as Oasis Charter Elementary School, serving grades K through 5 for a 15-year term from July 1st, 2020 through June 30, 2035.
Members, is there a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation to renew the charter contract with the City of Cape Coral Charter School Authority, Inc., and the name change for Oasis Charter Elementary South, formerly serving grades K through 5 for a 15-year term from July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2035?
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation.
Moved by Mrs. Patrica and seconded by Ms. Gittens. Any discussion? Attorney Bruno, I'm a little bit confused about these two because there were not two Krista McAuliffe elementary schools. One was Oasis Charter Elementary and one was Krista McAuliffe. So I'm a little confused about the verbiage in these recommendations. I don't.
Let me pull it up, Madam Chair.
Pardon me?
And maybe I could explain a little bit there too. I mean, the renewal one was named Oasis Charter North and the other one was Oasis Charter South. They were formerly known as Krista McAuliffe Charter Elementary, and then the other one was Oasis Charter Elementary. So
right. You've
got two Oasis elementaries now, north and south.
Right. Okay. So I see that it's just an error in the name. Okay.
They're changing the names. I mean.
Yes. Okay. But okay.
So in other words, the school that used to be Krista McAuliffe, okay, that school is going to be, of course, north. Okay, right. And then the school that was just Oasis Charter,
right,
now Oasis Charter South.
Right, and I'm sorry, but my script said formerly known as Krista McAuliffe for both of them, so that was confused me. I apologize. Okay. Ms. Patrica, did you have another comment or is your hand still up from before? Okay, thank you. All right, any other discussion, board members? All right, please record your vote.
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you, and the motion carries 7-0. Next on the agenda are board members' comments and reports. We'll begin today with Mrs. Giovanelli.
unmute. There you go. Hi. Okay, so I have a couple comments, and then I had sent everybody an email regarding a motion that I'd like to bring up, but one of my comments is actually for Dr. Atkins. I'm very concerned over what one of the employees stated earlier about the backlash of the board. The board hasn't made any decisions in regarding personnel, and that's clearly coming from the superintendent's recommendations and so forth regarding the situation at Harns Marsh. So I just wanted to be clear on that for other employees, because I hear this a lot, and this is something that we've spoken about, is that the board gets blamed for things that the board has no idea even sometimes. So, you know, you run the day-to-day business and operations of the district and regarding employees. And so there would be no backlash from this board on decisions that even happen. And I would hope that employees would realize that there would be no backlash. And if there is, that's when they need to come to the board. So I think that's really important to note. Also, so I sent everybody, and I apologize for it being short notice, but I realize this is possibly the last meeting for a month. So, and this is something that Dr. Atkins and I spoke about, was the Guardian program. And I would like to bring that up for a quick discussion. And I have a list of things that are pluses. I'm sure people might have some, but I have pros. And so here's what the Guardian program is: a fully funded program. I actually spoke to Sheriff Marcino about it, and he believes that it would enhance, he would love to work with this and enhance the Guardian program with the SRO program. So currently, right now, 42 counties out of 67 have the Guardian program. And, you know, for me, that we're leaving that money on the table for additional security with for our students and our staff. So I think it's really important that we to look at that. The Guardian program will increase our safety and security, and also address some of the training issues that is lacking at the district. There are also several charter schools that want to utilize the Guardian program. What else I have? I have increases student safety. It also detours active threats to schools. And I think that not knowing who actually is a guardian in the school would actually detour as well. One of my other pros is that the training would be at our local law enforcement at the Southwest Florida Public Service Academy. That was something that the sheriff and I spoke about, and he is fully on board with it. Also, the Guardian program is a direct reactive result from the investigation of Parkland, and the professionals determined that they had highly trained professionals. If they had highly trained professionals at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, the outcome would have been different. So those are my comments. And I'm going to make my motion to see if I have a second. I move that the district work with the Lee County Sheriff's Office to implement a blended Guardian program for the next 2021 school year. Do I have a second?
Mrs. Gittens, is that a second?
I'll second so that we can discuss. Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Morgan, and then Ms. Patrica.
Yeah, the last time we had this conversation, we met in a workshop with the sheriff, a representative from the sheriff's office, and representatives from all of the municipalities to have this conversation. Mr. Parkett was present, and the superintendent was involved. I'm open to having that conversation again. I will not be supporting this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Patrica?
Thank you. I do think it's an important discussion to have, but this is not a fully funded program. There are costs to the district that are not covered by the Aaron Feist Guardian Program dollars. I have many questions. What are additional liabilities to the district? What's the increased cost of liability insurance to the district? What's the increased cost of workers' comp insurance to the district? What's the cost of equipment? What's the cost of training? What's the cost of salaries plus benefits? How will they be trained? To my knowledge, Todd Everly over at the Public Safety Academy has not had an opportunity to weigh in on this. How long will it take to put together a training program? I'd like a workshop similar to the one just mentioned by Ms. Morgan. We had a workshop where we decided to put a minimum of one SRO into every school. I'd like that workshop to include a representative from every law enforcement agency that protects our students in our schools. Todd Everly from the Southwest Florida Training Academy, district safety and security staff. And, you know, I don't know that I have words to really express my disappointment in how this matter was brought before the board. Our protocols clearly state, and I quote, strive to make no new proposals during a regular action meeting so that all board members have an adequate time to review all proposals. The safety and security of our children has to always be our number one priority. A hastily composed email sent 24 minutes before the board is to take action on this item is unfair to our students, our families, our law enforcement partners, our staff, and the members of this board. I move that we table this item until the board has an appropriate opportunity to vet this proposal.
Thank you, Ms. Patrica. Ms. Vaughn. Well, I have a motion on the floor, right?
Well, you have a motion on the floor, but you need to take care of the first motion first.
Okay, then let's go ahead, Ms. Vaughn, for discussion on Ms. Giovanelli's motion.
Okay, so I can't second the second motion at this point, right? The table?
I think you can, yes.
I can, okay. I would like to have this discussion. I recall in the past when we had the workshop that it seems like the sheriff's office and others, the professional law enforcement people in the county had a very different view at that time, and I'd like to see what has changed. I'm just going to reiterate what Ms. Morgan and Ms. Patrica have already said, but I am open to having this discussion again, so I would like to second that it be tabled for an upcoming meeting.
So at this point, Madam Chair, you have the motion to lay the question on the table, and it's probably seconded, so you need to take a vote on the motion to lay.
Okay, then all those in agreement to tabling this motion of Mrs. Giovanelli, please indicate by saying aye. This will be a voice vote.
Aye.
Aye, 1, 2, 3.
Aye.
4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's 6 to table the motion and further the discussion at another time. And Mrs. Giovanelli, you're a nay? You can live with it. Okay, but this is an official vote. Okay, so 6-1, we will table the motion. Then we'll go back to, so that's gone. Okay, now back to Mrs. Giovanelli. Do you have anything else for board member comments or reports?
One more thing. I just wanted to bring up the fact that we just lost a student at Cypress Lake to COVID, and I just want to let the family know that we are thinking of them and our hearts and prayers are with them, and I'm very saddened by this news. So I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Giovanelli. Ms. Patrica.
I have no comments, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jordan.
Oh, thank you. Just real quick, I had the opportunity to watch all of the virtual graduations, and I must say that reading their comments that they wrote, they were very thoughtful, and it really gave me hope. And I'm looking so forward to seeing where these kids, where they end up at. So to me, it was good. It was well spent time watching this. And I can't wait to see them in person, but that was good. Also, we also had another EDAC meeting that I attended, and we spoke about the school reopening and communication feedback. So I have them thinking of different ways of helping to disseminate the information. They were very, and I have a list, so I'll make sure that it gets sent to the appropriate channels. And then also during the EDAC meeting, they had come up with, they were looking to do a EDAC focus group subcommittee. And what that looks like, not taken away from the student advisory committee, but this is a student liaison so that they could give feedback back to the EDAC committee, as they have in finance, an opening there for finance as well. Also, it's going to give them opportunity for students to be mentored, and then they're looking at a student representative for each zone so that we have good representation. And this just an equal opportunity for any student to feel that they are welcome to be there. So that is something that they're looking into, and Ms. Vaughn will be the new liaison. So it's a great group. They're working very hard, and they're looking forward to meeting you and working with you as I am going into finance, and I'm looking forward to moving on and working with them as well. And I thought today went really well, and I thank all of you for being a part of this, and thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Ms. Gittens.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, couple of items, and then Daryl, if you have my item to go up, but not yet, I'll tell you when. I still have communication. To me is still an issue with us, and we are working on it, I know, but we need to. I was concerned about the YMCA summer program and not going to fruition in the East Zone, and I understand they didn't have enough people to have the program. But I am very, and I have voiced this before, I'm very concerned of how we communicate with our stakeholders. And I will say again, peach jar and emails is not it. If we're going to reach all of the people and all the demographics, we have to look at other ways of communicating and making sure that they are a part of the conversation. I mentioned before about my concerns about the equity and proximity, and I mentioned that earlier in a meeting. Also, was something else. First thing I should have said is welcome to LaTanya. Thank you so much for joining us and being a part of this team, and we welcome you. The other thing is about the training. We continue to hear that. We heard that in the hearing this afternoon. We heard it in comments. We really do need to take a deep dive into what are we doing to make sure that there's training and equity in all of the crisis situations. And now, Daryl, if you will go ahead. Go ahead and put it up. Okay, and you can scroll. This is from the Atlanta region of the census, and it's like the and it went to the national as well. Where is it? I hope it's at the bottom. There, we got some kudos about keep going, keep going. There it is. Okay. Stop just a little. Okay, we got recognition in the regional and the national news about our South Florida Lehigh Census Parade. So, and everyone, got to talk about the fire department and the families and the school district and their participation. So it was a real community effort. And this is kind of a big deal that we end up in the national newsletter. The other thing is, you can take it down now, Daryl. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock, I just got an email that the winners of the national census, I think it's called, goodness, I forget the name of it now, but was a census video contest. And myself and a couple of other people put together a video for the census. We did pictures and interviews and all of that of our area out here, and we submitted it. So tomorrow afternoon at 3, we're supposed to find out who won. First prize is $30,000. Second prize is $10,000. So we can definitely use this out here for some of the programs that are in need. And I know I am the census person. I just keep bringing it up because it's so important. We have like 17, I think, schools that are Title I. I may be off 1 or 2, but we have a lot of our schools that are Title I, and this will definitely help with the education of those Title I schools and funding, et cetera. So I will let you know next time if I'll send out an email if we are fortunate enough to get one of those prizes and do some things out here in our community. I will keep you posted on our exploratory meeting on Thursday, and let you know how that turns out. And since we're not meeting until the 27th, just to say to everyone, have a good time off. And I also hope that we reflect on many of the things that we do and how we do them. And tomorrow, I just wanted to remind that Ms. Patrica, I'll be joining her for a meeting to talk about what we can do in the community. And it was listed as diversity. I am going to definitely request and talk about tomorrow that it be labeled something on racism or whatever, because that is actually what the issue is, not just diversity. So hopefully we will come up with some thoughts and ideas. I'd really like to see community input on that as well. And we'll talk about that tomorrow and bring it back to you. I just want to admonish everyone that the level of concern about racism and culture kind of reached a fever pitch and a high. And I am begging you, don't let that concern and that interest and that thought and that wondering what we can do die just because it's not in our face on TV every day. There's still a lot of work to be done, and we can do it for the children of Lee County. And I thank you to all my co-workers, and have a good summer.
Thank you, Ms. Gittens. Ms. Patrica, I see your hand up. Is that left over from before, or do you have?
I'm wondering whether it's appropriate for me to direct a question to Ms. Gittens through the chair regarding her comments.
Please.
Okay, I'm wondering, Ms. Gittens, and this might be an appropriate question for us to explore tomorrow, if you have any suggestions outside of what staff is already doing with regard to communicating with hard to reach communities. I know I've done significant research on that, and I agree with you that it's an issue. We're not reaching our communities, but I don't frequently hear solutions. I know I sent an email to the superintendent asking him about, what is the interpreter service, Dr. Adkins? What is the name of that? Language line, I think might be what it was called. Anyways, every time language line, every time, and that's a service that provides 24/7 interpreter services in, I believe, 240 or 280 different languages. That's not necessarily a way to engage students, but or families, but it is a way to make sure that when families are called, they know what's going on in the schools. So, you know, the problem has been identified. What suggestions do we have for solutions going forward? That would be my question. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Well, and if I can respond, one of the things that I have brought this up and spoken with the superintendent several times about it, and also Lauren Stillwell. One of the main issues, let's take the one survey that went out. You could choose to do it in English, Spanish, or Creole, but the instructions and the major part of it was in English. And to have a survey come back from a student base of 95,000 and you have 93.8, I think, percent English and 6% Spanish, and less than 1% Creole, that's a problem. And yes, I do have some suggestions and maybe that is one of the things that we talk about because it is a part of culture and racism. How do we involve everyone? So thank you for that, and yes.
Thank you, Mrs. Patrica and Mrs. Gittens. Ms. Vaughn? Yes, I wasn't going to say anything, but this conversation about communication has kind of sparked a couple things. The task force subcommittee that I'm on is the staff member that is in charge of it is Irma Lancaster, and we met yesterday, and we did a lot of brainstorming. And as a matter of fact, what Ms. Gittens and Ms. Patrica were just talking about is something that we were discussing because it is so important with the way the schools will be, the reopening of the schools in so many different scenarios, and we don't know what those will be exactly yet, but that everyone is contacted. And one of the members of the subcommittee was talking about school messenger, and there were discussions on that. So we brainstormed several different ideas that we're going to be bringing forward to the overall the pandemic K through 12 task force. And we hadn't at that point had anything on the list, on the presentation that Ms. Lancaster brought forward about the Haitian American community. And since I'm on the board for the Haitian American Community Coalition, I volunteered to work through our president, Beatrice Jaquette Castor, and she and I talked last night, and the two of us came up with some other methods of getting in contact with our Haitian Creole speakers in the district. So to underscore about communication, I think it's always important, but it's going to be even more important for the opening of this school year, because this school year isn't going to open like any other school year that any of us have ever seen. So anybody who has additional ideas on that, you can forward them to me or Irma Lancaster, communication ideas. And again, we are coming up with several of those to pass along. What the role is of the subcommittees is to come up with recommendations to pass along to the overall, the bigger committee, and of course staff is part of that. The other thing, since Miss Jordan mentioned EDACT, we're looking for, this is a reminder, and staff liaisons know this, but just as a reminder, all of the advisory committees are invited to give their recommendations. So I think, Ms. Jordan, I think you said you have a list, so I'm sure that's what you're going to be doing. And I know I mentioned this at the briefing, but I'm just going to say it one more time for people who are watching and listening this. We have a dedicated line, email address, reopening schools, at leastschools.net, where you can send in your comments and suggestions. I've informed the board about some things, and I know that actually we've been talking about when the next meeting is, but I can ask Ms. Fisher something. I talked with Lauren Stillwell earlier today, and I think she is going to bring some things to you and to Mr. Bruno about setting up a possible meeting, workshop, some kind of special meeting, because of course, all the things that come out of the task force also need to come to the board. And it's like, I can't even believe it's the end of June, and it's like, tick-tock, our first day of school will be like tomorrow in a way. So anyway, yeah, I didn't have any comments, but some things came to me, and that's what I wanted to say. So thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Ms. Vaughn. Mrs. Morgan.
Yeah, I don't know if others were concerned as I was about Dr. Jeff McCullough's comments. And, you know, when he was here, we probably had the best process for charter schools in the state. If there has been a change in that process as a result of change in law, I would appreciate just a little bit more information so that I understand why we had to do what we did today. So that's my only comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Morgan. So before I start with my comments, I just wanted to give Dr. Atkins an opportunity to name his new administrative appointees that were approved in the consent agenda. I neglected to do that before, and I apologize.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. First one's Jackson Morgan, Lehigh Elementary, from assistant principal to principal. The next appointment is Andrea Guns, North Fort Myers Academy for the Arts, from assistant principal to principal. So congratulations to Andrea as well as Jackson. Next one is Elizabeth Feliciano, Patriot Elementary, from assistant principal to principal. So congratulations. And next one, Jamie Reed, the Sanibel School, from assistant principal to principal. So congratulations to all of those assistant principals on making the next rung up to principal. So congratulations to all of them. And then a couple transfers I just want to mention. Sherry With, Lehigh Elementary Principal, Turnaround School, to Edison Park Creative and Expressive Arts Principal. And then Jamie Brown, so congratulations to Sherry. Then Jamie Browder is moving from Patriot Elementary Principal to Orangewood Elementary Principal. So congratulations. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, and we congratulate each and every one of them, and we look forward to great things continuing to happen in their schools. I'm going to just comment. First of all, LaTanya and Jennifer, I want to thank you for your work in getting up to speed. I know Susan's a tough act to follow, and we appreciate you. We're glad you're on board, and we will certainly do everything we can to help you with your onboarding. Next of all, I want to say I'm looking forward to the live graduations at Hertz Arena, and I'm looking forward to seeing the kids in person. That's going to be awesome, and I know it's a bigger venue and allows for better social distancing, so thank you, Dr. Atkins and staff, for making that adjustment. I want to thank all the staff for their continued hard work during this very challenging time. I know how many hours people have been putting in, and it is not going unnoticed. So, communication, training, our board and the governance team. You know, our main focus is academic success for kids, but that does not happen unless they are also personally, socially, and emotionally supported and healthy. And you guys know that I'm big on the health part. So with that being said, and with safety always being our number one priority, when Mrs. Giovanelli brought up the Guardian program, when we have that workshop, I would like to suggest that we also look at and examine some of the cost and the investment in a Guardian program versus some more prevention programs and staff who would help work with children early on. You know, we have to start early, giving them support for their self-esteem, helping them to be successful, and helping them to remove their barriers to learning. And nowadays we have more and more kids who have more barriers to learning. I learned that term when I worked for Dr. Chuck Bell in Student Services. And he said, that's what we're there for. And that was, we were the school counselors, the school social workers, the school nurses, and the psychologists. And they said, we have to help them remove those barriers before they can do what we really want them to do, and that is to learn so that they can be healthy and successful in their lives. So I'd like to have that as part of the workshop to see like what an investment in that versus an investment in Guardian program who may have more liabilities and challenges. So I look forward to that conversation. Census. So I noticed on Ms. Gittens, I want to thank you and Ms. Vaughn for the work that you've done on the census. And I noticed, and congratulations, Ms. Gittens, on making the national news with the Lehigh parade. But it's not too late. And I noticed that Florida's reporting is 58% compared with the national average of 60%. And it's not too late. And I think that each and every one of us can work in our communities to remind people and to use our social media and our word of mouth to remind people to take the few minutes, because it can make such a difference for our community, especially now when we're funding challenged. I want to say that the sad news about the Cypress High School student passing away, evidently of the virus, touches my heart, and I think that we want to send our condolences and our prayers to the family of the student and the family at Cypress Lake High School. And finally, I just want to say that I appreciate the opportunity to serve. I want you all to stay safe and healthy until we come together to work on more solutions to the problems that we've identified. And God bless you all. Ms. Dupree Bruno.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To Ms. Morgan, I appreciate the comment with regards to the charter school contract. There was a change in law. As of December 2019, we do have to use the model form that is provided by the DOE. However, we can have strikeouts and inserts. So I'm going to meet with staff to go through all of the concerns brought up by Dr. McCullers and see where, what's going on and what we can do to address those concerns. I do want the public to know that tomorrow, the workshop between Ms. Giddens and Ms. Patrica has been properly noticed. There will be someone there to take minutes, and it will be in compliance with the Sunshine Law. and the public is invited to attend if they so choose. The meeting time and all of that good stuff is on the calendar.
Thank you very much, Attorney Bruno. Dr. Atkins.
No comments this evening, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. On Monday, July 27th, there'll be a board workshop at 1 p.m. On Tuesday, July 28th, there'll be a board workshop at 9:30 a.m., a briefing meeting at 1 p.m., a special meeting at 5:05 p.m., and an action meeting at 6 p.m. So I'll look forward to seeing you all then. At this time, having no other business to come before this board, I will entertain a motion for adjournment. Ms. Gittens?
Yes, I make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Gittens. And a second? And
A second.
Ms. Giovanelli seconds, and then please record your vote.
Madam Chair, there is no vote for adjournment.
No.
At an action meeting?
Yeah, there is.
I was going to let that one slide and just remind again, but we're going to do the adjournments by consensus. If there's no objection, we'll just adjourn.
Okay, all those in favor, aye. And we're finished almost 11 minutes early, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you.